So, does nutrition affect your quality of sleep? You bet it does. I'm going to talk about it in this video.
Let's go.
Hi, welcome. Coach Tonya with Criticalbench, and I'm the holistic health practitioner here. Today I'm going to be talking about my top 3 nutrition makeovers that you can include in your life to help you sleep better, because we all love a good night's sleep, and it's really frustrating and really annoying. It can make us really cranky when we don't get one. But before I share those 3 nutrition makeovers with you, I want you to check out that pinned comment below for the 101 superfoods product that we have. If you click that link, it'll take you to a page where you can find out more about it. This is a great resource that lists 101 superfoods that pretty much no matter where you live, there's going to be things on this list that you can get, and you can start including them in your diet to optimize your nutrition and therefore optimize your overall health and wellness. So check it out. Okay, nutrition and sleep, they definitely go hand in hand, and I've got 3 makeovers that you might want to think about including in your life if you are struggling with sleep. The thing with sleep is we need it. And I do know some people, I think we all do know some of those people that are, oh, I can go on 3 hours sleep a night. Good for you. I can't. And that 3 hours of sleep a night is going to catch up with you. It's not good to go for long periods of time on little sleep, because your body basically, your body never stops just because you go to sleep. It's not like this system shuts down. It's 24/7. And there is what I call the night shift. So when you go to sleep and you get into that zone and you're off in dreamland, the night shift comes in. And there are a infinite number of things happening in the body at night that can only happen when you are at rest. So that sleep doesn't only just feel good because you wake up refreshed, and feeling ready for the day. A lot of absolutely imperative functions happen during that time. So getting sleep, getting quality sleep, and getting enough of it regularly and consistently is so important to your health. So there's a lot of things that we do in a day and that we can do in a day that can interfere with, that can sabotage, but that can also help. And one of those things is nutrition. So I am going to talk about that. But first of all, things like stress can certainly impact your ability to rest well. You might find there's kind of like several aspects of this. I've talked with people that their stress is very huge, it's very heavy, it's mounting and building, and what they find is it exhausts them, so they're kind of tired all day long, and they're in that stress mode, like they're performing and they're functioning, but they're tired all day long, and but they don't sleep. They don't sleep well. Like their brain never stops. So there's that side of it. And then I have talked with people that their stress it does exhaust them to the point that they collapse and they actually end up oversleeping. So, or they're sleeping and then waking up constantly. It's not a restful sleep. And we are wanting to get restful quality sleep, because there's a big difference between getting a few hours of terrible sleep and getting a few hours of really great restful sleep. So being able to manage your stress is key. So you need to figure out ways to better manage it, cope with your stress, so that you are able to get into that mindset in the evenings and get your body ready for sleep. A lack of routine can certainly impact how well you are able to fall asleep and how well you do sleep. Our bodies love routine. They love patterns and routines. They respond very well. So if you're able to, if you have a job and kids and all of those things, your life is kind of run by the calendar and the clock anyway. So it just makes sense. If the rest of life is working based on, this schedule of events and things that are happening in your day, it makes sense that, coming up on bedtime, you should have a set bedtime that you stick to, at least within a 30-minute time frame. That, an hour prior to that, you have this schedule and routine about, getting ready for bed, kind of chilling out, so to speak, okay? Try it. It does work. Poor lifestyle behaviors, so which I'm going to address with nutrition, things like alcohol, caffeine consumption. If you're a gamer and you're gaming late at night, and then you think you're just going to be able to lie in bed and fall asleep, it's probably not going to happen. Your brain is too alert and turned on and wide awake. So these are some of the other elements that are going to be impacting sleep that we need to know how to deal with and how to manage things better to get the sleep that we need to be really healthy. So how does nutrition factor in? Well, the bottom line is if your nutrition is lousy, it's going to impact your sleep. Okay, your body needs fuel. Your cells need fuel to function and do what they need to do. If they're not getting that fuel, they're not able to do it. So they're going to pull vitamins, minerals, proteins, carbs, and fats. So they're going to pull resources from wherever they can. That is going to affect your whole system, and that's going to, affect your sleep as well as a lot of other things. But we're talking about sleep. So I have 3 nutrition makeovers, focusing specifically on nutrition and really establishing a healthy way of eating, a healthy way of looking at food, a healthy way of managing our food to support better sleep. And I'm waiting, I live in Florida, and I'm waiting for the rain to start. It has been storming all day. We've been trying to film here all day, and when the rain comes really loud, it can provide a lot of background noise, which can sometimes drown out the talking or make it hard to hear us. So if you start to hear something in the background, it's the rain. And I swear, the way it sounds, you'd swear these raindrops are like the size of basketballs. So I keep stopping and waiting for that to happen. I squirreled there for a moment. Okay, so the first nutrition makeover is about alcohol. Now, alcohol is one of those things because it's nice to have a drink in the evening, or if you're out socially, having a glass of wine with your dinner. That's not a bad thing. The problem is when the consumption of alcohol reaches a point where it's impacting your sleep, okay? Now, the thing with alcohol is it can make you very sleepy. Very sleepy. How many of us have gone out and partied a little bit too hard and had a couple drinks and you're tired. You just collapse into bed and you don't even remember your head hitting the pillow, you fall asleep. But then like 3 hours later, you are up and wide awake. So alcohol might be really great at inducing sleep, but it does nothing to foster sustainable long-term sleep. And it tends to cause us to wake up either really, really early and we still need some extra hours, or it has us getting up all through the night. And another thing about alcohol is that interrupted sleep tends to happen during the restorative process of sleep. So it's really damaging. It really gets in the way. It can also make your sleep apnea much worse. And where alcohol is actually an issue or a concern as far as abuse, it affects memory recall. So these are all things that are not the positive impact of alcohol. Okay, so let's say you do enjoy a glass of wine with your supper. Okay, so you've had a glass of wine, maybe you've had a glass and a half. And let's say it's an evening where you're out with friends or you have company and it's kind of getting on late in the evening. You know that things are kind of coming to a close and you could clearly and easily have another glass of wine, but you're also wanting to make sure that you're not waking up during the night and that you are also able to fall asleep. One of the, and I wrote it down here, one thing you might want to do that you can substitute out with rather than not having something, because sometimes it's a behavior, sometimes just sitting there in a group and having something in a glass, it feels better, makes people feel more comfortable, is a tart cherry juice. Okay, now say that 10 times. Tart cherry juice is a natural source of melatonin, and we all know that melatonin is sleep inducing. So not only are you going to be substituting out alcohol, which can keep you awake or keep you from staying asleep, with something that isn't alcohol, but it also has that melatonin type of ingredient in it that can help you fall asleep and stay asleep. So that's a better option. Another one is with spicy foods. Now, this is one I need to take my own advice on. I love spicy food. The spicier, the better. But it can certainly impact your sleep, and I've experienced that, where you have that delicious spicy dinner and then boom, you lay down, 10 minutes later, heartburn. Oh, and it's miserable. So it can cause, it can cause heartburn. It can also, if you have GERD, it can aggravate that, and that's very unpleasant. It can also make your sleep apnea worse. And true story, spicy foods can very mildly, very minimally, but increase your core body temperature. And this interferes with your body's natural transition that it makes in a temperature drop during sleep. It's true, you can Google that. So you might want to be careful with the spicy foods. What you can do as an option is, if it is a late night or it's an evening out and spicy foods are on the menu and you really want it, you probably want to avoid those if you're struggling with sleep. Or what you can do is, just opt for something that has less spice in it, has other herbs, other spices in it. Another thing you want to watch for too, not just with the spicy foods, but some tomato-based foods, tomato-based sauces they can also interfere with sleep too. So if you want to do the spicy foods, if you struggle, let me back up. If you struggle with sleep, if it's really hard for you to fall asleep, if it's really hard for you to stay asleep, if you find you're not really getting enough good quality sleep, what you might want to do is have your spicy foods earlier in the day, like during a lunchtime, or have an earlier dinner. So again, knowing your bedtime and having that bedtime routine is going to be really helpful, because it is something you can plan for if you want an evening meal of spicy foods. Well, if you typically go to bed at 10 o'clock, you should be having that meal no later than 7. Okay, and probably by then, within 3 hours, it shouldn't interfere too much with your sleep. The last one is high protein foods. Now, high protein foods are good for us and we need them, but they do take longer to break down. And digestion slows by about 50% when we sleep. So eating something that requires a lot of work is going to do nothing to help us fall asleep and stay asleep. So things like, kind of got a list here. I want to make sure I tell them all. Things like your aged cheeses, processed cheeses, salami, pepperoni. These all contain triamine, and that triggers the release of norepinephrine, which is known to stimulate the brain. Okay, so these are protein, high protein foods you probably don't want to be eating late at night. Now, the catch with that is, have you ever been to a function, an evening function, where there isn't a delicious meat and cheese tray or a charcuterie board loaded with all these things I just mentioned? Again, knowing your bedtime and having routine is going to help, because if you are out at an event and these delicious, appetizers are out, sure, you can have some. Just make sure you're not grabbing them on your way out the door to go home. Maybe have a few earlier in the evening with your glass of wine before, reining things in a bit, and then sticking to other foods that are not going to get in the way and cause a problem for you when it comes to sleep. So things like your complex carbs, are a little better. So whole grains, sweet potato, not that you're going to be eating all of these things right before bed, but these are, late in the evening meals. If you know it's going to be a late night and you're hungry or snacky, these are alternatives. Your complex carbs, your whole grains, they release like a serotonin. They trigger the release of serotonin, which is a hormone that helps us to sleep. So those are better than eating a lot of these other, heavier foods, okay? Okay, so there you go, your nutrition, your sleep, what you can do with one to help support the other. Hopefully there was some useful information in this video for you. If you have any comments or questions, make sure you mention those below. And don't forget to check that pinned comment below for the 101 Superfoods, a great user-friendly resource that's filled with all kinds of information you are going to love. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, and please hit that notification bell and subscription button so that you never miss any of our great content. I'm Coach Tonya with Criticalbench. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you soon.